to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we do? I'm your co-host, Michelle, and today we have Healthy Boundaries Guy back again as a special guest, but we're not going to talk about healthy boundaries today, are we?
No.
Welcome. Today, would you like to set the intention for the podcast?
Yes.
Ooh.
I would.
Awesome.
I'd like to talk about travel.
Okay, the intention is to talk about travel. I love it. Yay! All right, so I have a question for you right out of the gate.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about my happy place, Chiang Mai, Thailand, specifically. And I'm wondering, what about Chiang Mai made you fall in love? Because it's my happy place. It's my home away from home. I fell in love with it right away. But I don't know that I expected you to fall in love with it to the level that I did. And I believe you 100% did.
Yeah. Like why I fell in love with it?
Yeah, like what was it about Chiang Mai that like got your heart?
Well, for the longest time, so I had a pretty intense job. So, I would take a Monday, Friday off, something like that. And it just was, you come home to more work than you would have if you wouldn't have taken it. And so there are always short ski trips or short little road trips or a fishing trip or, nothing of any size. And I think that trip was 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks with travel maybe. So it was the longest one I had ever done. And there is something that happens, I've explained this to other people that, you take a 1 week trip and it's like, you just kind of get to disconnect. You're kind of still on your email. You're still thinking about work or life or whatever. Then the second week kind of changes again. But you go into that third week, it's a whole different experience. It's like nothing I ever experienced before. And then when you get there, you have no choice. I liked going to I've never been a huge touristy person, and so that really, even though it can be a touristy area, if you chose to go in some areas, and even some areas that are touristy are still kind of fun, but they don't care if you're there or not. Like you go, you'll go online. So the first time I went, they didn't have a lot online. You could look around. There's a lot of like videos and tour guides and that kind of stuff. But as far as like finding places,
like the hole in the wall type places or the off the beaten path type places,
they didn't. And so I spent the entire time. You guys were all training, and so I would just walk around, and then you get there and you're 12 hours difference. So you're up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, walk around and there's just monks and dogs. There's nobody there. And you'd go, the coffee shop opens at 7. They'll show up at 8 and they don't even apologize. They're just like, oh, did you want coffee? Because if you don't, you can leave. They don't, it's not, you're so used to the kind of Western culture of the customer's always right and people complaining that, their order didn't come out right or on time, or you really have to let go. And it's funny, and that was always fine to me. I always thought, the people who complain at restaurants that the food wasn't right and they scream at the waitress, you go, it's not the waitress's fault. Well, in Thailand, you don't get to do that because it's all wrong. It's just not the food's wrong, but like, we'd go out to Thanksgiving dinner and you'll order as a group and that food's going to be put down in front of you and you better start eating because the person next to you might not get their food for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's plate by plate.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, so that it's such a change where it's just like, well, hey, sorry, I got my food first. I don't know what to tell you. And there is a simplicity there, it's not, it's very different than Western culture, and we've been on several trips now there where certain people can't let go of that. And it's almost funny to see because you remember your first time and you're like, oh yeah, they don't care. We met this one British guy there named Louis and he's like, yeah, you'll go to a store and they don't care if you buy anything. It's not I've never felt harassed by any business or person. You know, you go to certain places and it's just, they're just trying to sell you constantly. It's completely the most laid back thing.
Yeah.
You know, the islands are like that. You know, Jamaica can be a bit like that. And there's certain Caribbean islands where it's just a different pace. And you got no choice but to get used to it. You just...
Yeah, you're on Thai time whether you like it or not.
Yeah, they don't care.
It's funny because you keep saying they don't care, and I'm like, but they're the friendliest people, and
no.
they will help you.
Sure.
No matter what, they're happy to see you, but it's just different. I didn't want to
get here at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, so, exactly.
That's what I mean by don't care.
Yeah,
it's it says it's open at 10.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to be open
Hours
at 10.
They're loosey-goosey. Yeah.
So then you kind of
doesn't even mean they'll be open that day.
Right. Well, because there would be places where I'd be like, oh, I'm going to run over there. That opens at 10, and you do the American thing. You just go, oh, man, I'm going to go there and there.
You get forced out of a schedule.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And you're like, oh, well, I mean, it's 10:15 and they're still not open. Maybe I'll go get a cup of coffee. And so you were forced into almost like a cafe culture. You're just going to sit there and wait.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you do find yourself just kind of relaxing more than I ever have before. And you know, it just is what it is. And then for me, the food, where, you know, this was before all the food trucks came. And so for street food and the markets, where I'm just like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
I would never go to a restaurant again. Because you can just walk up to a food truck and they only make one thing. But that thing is great. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. Or they might have 2 dishes. So there's like, well, we really screwed up here. Why didn't we do this?
Yeah.
Because, and it's not every corner, but pretty close.
Yeah.
Chicken skin guy.
Oh.
You know, there's just a guy that cooks chicken. And it's noon to 2:30.
Right.
And when he's done, he's done. Like you know, and it might not even be noon, and he might be done at 1. Like it just, you know, and so you kind of hit or miss whether you get your favorite things, and I absolutely love it there.
Yeah, I don't know why I guess a surprise might be a big word, but I didn't expect you or have any inclination that you would fall so deeply in love with Chiang Mai like I did. My reasons were so different on some level because it was my Thai massage training, it was my teacher, right? But similar to what you said, for me, it's a forced disconnect.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel forced. It's just like you're so in awe of everything that's going on around you. The culture feels so different. It is so different. And when you're just exploring that, like, I love that they got to a point where I was like, what time is it? does it matter? Who cares what time it is? Nobody cares what time it is. They're not going to
be open anyway.
It doesn't matter. I'm just going to explore and be free. And, you know, there is something about being halfway around the world where your duties at home sort of fall off and you don't have to even, at some point, you don't think about it anymore. Yeah. And you truly disconnect. And I like what you said about the third week into after 2 weeks, after change. 2 weeks into the vacation, how you really...
The amount of people who I've told that to, and they're like, yeah, I've never went more than 2 weeks.
Oh,
like, it changes it.
And even just 2.5 weeks. It's only a few days, but...
It's like you kind of get a feel for a city.
You become part of the city on some level.
The second week. Yeah. And then the third week, you just kind of... Well, then the fourth week is even better. Where you're like, no, this is great.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it really is... Yeah, that third week is completely different. It changes the city. It changes the.
Well, and I think you have your bearings. You're comfortable. The first part, you're getting out of your discomforts, right? It's like, oh, damn, I looked at my watch again. Why am I doing that? It doesn't matter. I don't have a place to be at a certain time. Or, oh, I'm feeling called to check my email. Oh, wait, I don't actually have Wi-Fi this time. They have Wi-Fi. It's just that, you know.
Yeah.
And that particular trip I'm thinking of, like, I didn't have a lot of Wi-Fi options. And the Wi-Fi I did have in 2012 was less than. I'll just put it that way. So it's like...
Yeah, I mean, Thailand, you know, so I really like Vietnam and Japan. I mean, you know, there's a lot of great... But Thailand's like that mix between... You can still have... You know, air conditioning everywhere.
I knew you were going to say that. I was like, air conditioning.
Well, it gets hot. And so it's just, you know, you go, oh, I'm just going to go get You can go get a tea and cool off and use the Wi-Fi.
Right.
You know, and so there are a lot of really nice things that they've adopted and other things where they're like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And, I mean, it's just such a place where you can, I mean, if you're a foodie at all, I mean, the markets, 4 a.m, go get whatever you want.
I don't even know if I would call myself a foodie, and I have limitations as to what I can eat being gluten-free and dairy-free, and I still would rave about the food there.
Yeah, it really is.
It's magical.
Well, and I grew up,
good.
Midwestern food, very limited seasoning.
Yeah.
So there is, and it's not the Americanized version of Thai food. Right. So, you do get flavors that you just almost never had before.
They're so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just everybody's super friendly, relaxed. There's no need to go fast because there's no point. You're just gonna go fast to go sit somewhere else. Right. There is, you don't have the. Well, what did Dom say? They don't have seatbelts.
It's just it's so simple here. Yeah, you don't have to wear seatbelts.
I mean, you hang off the back of a truck like you did when you're a kid. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the things that we don't have here anymore are still there. Yeah, good or bad, I don't know. Maybe there's some, sure, some good reasons, but there is some stuff where you just, I mean, we didn't even get out of the airport, and I'm hanging on the luggage, hanging off the back of the Songtao truck, and you're like, well, this is kind of nice. Yeah. I think the funny thing too, like we talk about food all the time, and we do this every time we go there. And I'm thinking specifically about when the last time we were there in 2018, because it was hotter then, because it was a different time of year that we went. Yeah. And I remember you so desperately wanted to eat a bunch of food, but the heat, you just weren't hungry. And you're like, I just got to wait 2 more days. 2 more days. My body will adjust. Get used to this.
And then I can eat. Yeah. I just remember you being like crushed because you're just like, I it looks so good and I just want to eat it, but my body says no.
22 hours to get here and I'm not hungry.
It seems so mean. Like it shouldn't be that way. But yeah, I love hearing. I was wondering what it was about Thailand that like made you fall in love with it, because I wasn't sure. Yeah. Because for me it was all those things, and I had a teacher, so I didn't know if the teacher like sort of amplified everything, right? Because I had a teacher that did some transformational work that changed my life, and I had met the singing bowl guy, and so I just had all my different experiences that were related to not only my personal life but my professional life, which are both, I'm really passionate about both. So I wasn't sure if my experience with it was skewed, and maybe, who knows. But I thought it was cool that you witnessed and explored all the same things.
I really like the hole in the wall places.
Me too.
And so you could just be walking down a neighborhood and find a bakery.
Well, and I've been there.
We did.
And I loved it because I could actually eat stuff there. It was amazing. I feel like, I've been there 4 times. You've been there 2 or 3 times? 2, yeah. But every time we go, we find something new. Yeah. And you can just, like, in spaces that we went to all the time, and it's like, wait, has that always been here? I'm not sure, but there's, like, these little alleys and these little ways, and all of a sudden you just find, like, oh my gosh, there's a whole resort back in here. Or, oh, holy cow, there's a whole, like, I didn't know they did, cooking classes in this part of town, or, and then just, I think you explored a lot more outside of the old city the first time we were there, maybe.
Definitely, well, both, but definitely the first time. Yeah. And now that's pretty built up too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to come from a suburban culture where you're, it's just very different. It's, you can't compare it to here. No. And by any stretch of the imagination, it's hard to even describe, really, because you literally I would find myself just walking down roads.
Me too. And I know for you that has a different meaning, but like for the first time I was there, I was walking down alleys, finding my way back to whatever restaurant we were meeting at. And I remember I had a moment, and I was still pretty sheltered at that time in my life. I had only just begun my personal growth journey too, right? So I wasn't comfortable being uncomfortable. I remember I was walking down an alley and just in my own little world, and all of a sudden I paused and I was like, if I was in the United States right now, I'd actually be afraid. Yeah. But I feel confident and comfortable, and I don't have any of that happening. And I remember being like confused by that because my default was to be afraid to be walking alone on a dark street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it didn't feel that way. It never felt that way.
Well, and the people are, you know, I mean, think of the cooking school that I found at Bombaloo.
Oh my gosh.
And so, you know, it just happened to be, you know, it was whatever, 5 to 8, 4 hours, 3 hours. What did we leave there, 1 o'clock?
Oh my gosh.
You know,
I know.
And we still talk to those people.
Right.
I don't have any other trip where that's happened.
No.
You know, so
Yeah.
like the how friendly they are and how really fast you do become actual friends with these people.
Yeah.
Where that was a cooking school that, I mean, the second time we went there, we actually went and saw the chef who showed me how to cook the first time at his new restaurant.
Right.
Well, you know,
I know.
I've never had, you know.
It's so amazing. They really do just like wrap you up and let you in.
And even think about the second time we went. We stayed at a different place. We still talk to those people.
I know.
And so it really is like, you know, it's just, you just don't find that anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's somewhere else, but nowhere else I've been.
Right.
Where, you know,
well, me too.
You hire a cooking school and it turns
next thing you know,
it's 1 o'clock in the morning and they're you know, figuring out how to get us home, which they didn't have to do, you know, just stuff like that where it's like, you just, you know, that just doesn't happen anywhere else, I guess. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is I'd say, oh, it was just a fluke, but it feels like every time we go there, something like that happens where you're just like, I know.
I mean,
it's amazing.
Know, think about Na, and you're sending people to her now. That was just, we found her, you know.
Yeah.
And now we still talk to her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Yeah, it's interesting. The people you meet over there. You're right. Like I'm just reflecting on other travels. It's not like you don't talk to people. It's not like you don't make friends, quote unquote, in quotes, right. with people. But then that fades so quick. Half the time you don't even, if you do exchange, you send one email like, hey, send me your pictures, you know, something stupid like that. And then that's it.
Well,
and
they'll remember you.
100%.
Like the second time I went there, Om remembered me, Na remembered. You just go, well, how do you
remember us?
You have to see thousands of people.
Yeah.
How did you remember me? You know?
Yeah.
Where that they really do.
Yeah, it's not just some blanket, like, come in, come out, whatever connection. It's like they truly, connect with people. And, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I'm trying to think if there's any funny stories that we should tell on a podcast. Most of them you have to either be in person to see the movements of the experiences that happened.
The good one is going to wait.
Yep, the good one has to wait. It has to wait until the trip. I can't
tell that story till the trip. It
has to wait till the next trip, which is next year. We're going and we're inviting people along.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because there's
just so many. I mean, the chicken skin, you did bring up the chicken skins. I feel like you should tell that story. Okay. I mean, it's just simple, but it's one of those things where he's only open a short amount of time.
So there's a guy with a cart, and, you know, he must buy X amount of chickens whole, and he butchers them, and then fries them, cooks them, and so I would go there almost every day and get the offal, the innards, I like those, and then a bag of chicken skins. And we were walking by, and I was like, hey, those are those chicken skins I was talking about. And you were like, no, you know. And I'm like, well,
we had just eaten. I was not
if you want to try them, you know, he's not going to be open very much longer.
So I was like, all right.
I'm like, they're better, you know, you can eat them cold, but they're better warm. And so, you know, she's like, well, whatever, fine, okay. And so we ordered a bag or two of chicken skins, and all I heard for the next 15 minutes walking behind me was just crunch, crunch.
They were so good.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic. And there's those
They
places.
were warm. You weren't wrong about the warm part.
Oh, yeah, they're way better.
I was like, I was not hungry,
they're good
but
cold,
I'll tell you what.
But warm.
Ugh.
You just buy them.
Out of this world.
And then I started to figure out roughly his schedule. So it was just, you know, took a few days before me to figure it out. And, he doesn't speak English, so,
right.
So it's a lot of hand signals.
You're great at those.
I'm great at those. They're very communicative. There's another story I can't tell on the podcast with the hand signals.
Right, yes.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those kind of places where you just kind of stumble and find. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and even just like all the street like the atmosphere of the street market. I mean, just like the way they have the table set up. Like I used to teach preschool. They have like the little preschool kid chairs around the tables for some of them, but they give you a place to sit. They wouldn't have to. It's street food. And just, I don't know, the vibe of it and the atmosphere, and it smells so good, and everyone's happy. And
some of the greatest meals you'll ever eat is on a little plastic kid's chair along the side of a road.
It's so amazing. Yeah. It's just so cool. And the thing is like, even, so we've been doing research for the trip that because we're going to bring a group. And so we just want to have more structure, maybe. I mean, we'll see how it goes when we get there, because structure in Thailand is hard. But there's so many more markets than I even realized. Like, you and I were both talking, like, oh, did you know that was there? It's like, wait, what? Where did that one come from? Yeah. And I don't think it's new. I think it's literally been there every time.
Oh, no, I always knew the North Gate one had one. I just never made it up there because we were in the South Gate and I never got past the food truck.
But I stayed in the North Gate a couple times when I was there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I don't remember that market.
Yeah.
Unless maybe I'll remember it when we get there, But I thought there was another one too, where that's just it. It's like you find these markets tucked in all these different places. And well, Christina is there now, and she just posted a market, and I was like, is that on Nusaran? And she's like, no, it's this one. And I was like, oh, wait, what? Cool.
I think there's a market at every day.
I think they're everywhere.
Well, the South Gate, where we, the last time we were there for the longest time, I mean, I went there every morning.
Yeah.
But it's so close. You go, well, this is great.
I mean, and you honestly, went there in the evenings too, and sent me down dark alleys.
Well,
with heavy stuff.
I had to go get snacks.
At least you shared the snacks.
No, yeah. I mean, you could spend a month in one market and not try everything you want to.
Yeah,
that's the other thing, is they're not small.
Yeah, I think if you enjoy food, if you enjoy Thai food specifically, right? I just can't imagine not falling in love with Thailand. But you know what's funny is I guess you did mention the food, but like that wasn't your number one thing that you talked about when you talked about falling in love with Thailand. It was definitely up there. But
oh yeah, it's definitely up there, but yeah.
There's just so many, it's so unique and so different. I'll never forget the first time I got off the plane, because it's a little plane and you climb down the stairs and get on the tarmac. Yeah. And then you look up at the sky. And I looked up at the sky, and this was in 2012 in November. And I looked up at the sky, and it was just a sliver of a moon. But like here in Minnesota, we see the sliver on the sides.
Yeah.
It was at the bottom, so it looked like a smile. And I just remember thinking, I'm already in love with this place. The moon is like a smile instead of a crescent, which I know it's the same thing. But I was just like, oh, I guess I never really thought about that. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just had my head turned sideways, and that's not really how it is.
I'm gonna laugh and get there. I think you made that shit up. I think you made that up.
I'm just telling you how that was my experience in that moment in 2012. Oh, it's so funny.
No, there is so much to do, and it's.
Yeah, you think you'd get bored, but you just you don't. I don't know how you could. Yeah. It's just, there's so much to see. There's so much to do. There's so much to explore.
Even how nice, I would get a tuk-tuk to take me to a museum. I really like the museums and stuff. And
yeah.
They just hang there with you.
Well, I went to where were we? Were you with me on that one? Or was that a different trip? When I went to go buy the cushions, and like the lady she I asked about it at a store. I think I was at a store, and she's like, "Oh, it's up here." And then we asked how far, and she basically pointed to her scooter. I got on the back of her scooter. Yeah. She drove me down there.
Yeah.
I bought the stuff. She drove me back up to you guys, and then we took our Songtao to pick up all my stuff because it sure as heck wasn't going to fit on a scooter. Yeah. And I was like, who does that? Nobody here would ever do that. No. Nobody would ever offer that. No. And then there was another time I was shopping at the my scarf lady, who was always hard to find because she's tucked in this little spot and we could never find her. But I found her, and that was when we were staying at Southgate. And
she drove
me she's like, where are you staying? And I was like, it's okay, I love walking. And she's like, no, I'll drive you. And I'm like, I have a scarf. I don't have to carry heavy things. Yeah. I'm good. And she's like, no. And I was like, this is just so cool.
Well, the singing bowl people dropped your stuff off so you didn't have to carry it.
Exactly. I know.
Okay.
And you just think, is this... Well, I mean, I didn't at that point, but my first time there, I would have been like, is this a scam? Are they just going to keep my bowls?
Yeah.
Like, which is a terrible thing that's where my brain would have gone. But I'm just like, no. I mean, 100% I knew they were going to deliver them because they were going to package them up nice for me so we didn't have to ship them and I could just tuck them into my suitcase. Yeah. And I mean, that's just it. Like, they just go over and above on all the things. And like I said, like here, I would never hop on the back of a motorcycle with someone I didn't know ever. And there I was like, sure, why not? Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you. You just saved us a lot of time and energy. Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool. It's a magical place.
No, it is, even when you're not walking is we went to the waterfall. He just puts a hammock up. All right, let me know when you guys are done.
I know.
I want to make sure you guys get back. Doesn't go get another ride. He's like, I'm going to make sure you guys are good.
That's so cool.
I went to a few museums where, the one guy came with me because I've never been here. I'm like, go
That's
with.
so cool.
Yeah. So we both went and saw the museum, but yeah, they would just hang out, not so you didn't,
right,
get stuck somewhere.
Right.
Which, find that happening here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no matter what ride, right? Like just the people actually have conversations with you.
Yeah.
Like the one guy thought you were a Muay Thai fighter. That was hysterical.
Oh, they all did.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just remember the one. I was there for part of it.
Just trying to get me to go in there and get beat up. That is a scam. Pretty sure that one's actually a scam.
He was pretty excited. He was. Yeah, I thought he was going to ask you for your autograph.
Oh yeah, no, because I remember that one. He
was absolutely.
Well, part of it was because we were driving to the place right next to the big Muay Thai center.
Yeah, that's true.
So he was like, "Oh, he's got to
very good assumption.
He's got to be going."
It was a realistic assumption. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, and then comparison to Thai, most of the Thai culture, most of the Thai people, you're not a small man.
No.
And so like we would go get massages when we would go together.
They were very happy.
They were happy that I was the one.
Yeah. Was very happy. Yeah, that was funny. Or getting clothes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The time you tried to try on the shirt. Yeah. And you were like, do you have anything bigger? And she's like, no. And you're busting at the buttons.
Like, I'm the largest man on this continent.
Yeah. So it was a good thing you brought other clothes because you'd have been in trouble.
Yeah.
You'd have been in trouble on that one for sure.
I think I found one shirt.
Yeah.
But even at like the mall.
Yeah, that's right.
Good luck finding. I thought, well, I'll just get some gym shorts or something.
Yeah.
Get a few extra. Well, they had extra large. That would be comparable to
extra large, like a medium.
Probably, here? Like you just grab them, and you're like, well,
they don't even stretch far enough to cover.
I'm not even going to go into the dressing room with this one. Do you have? This is extra. Do you have 7X? You got 7X? No, they got nothing. Like an extra large is probably a medium here. Because right away they're like, what size? Extra large, and then they come to you with it, and you're like, well, why did you even bring this thing to me?
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing I think is fascinating, because when we were in Chiang Mai with Kumpal, we found out that, like, Thai people like to go to the mall to cool off.
Yeah.
And so that was our go-to. We would go to the mall and get ice cream. Well, you would get ice cream. I don't know. I would get some sort of a cold drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was in the summer, though.
That was the summer trip, and it was ridiculously hot. Yeah. Like, I always say Thailand is 3 showers a day hot, but that was hotter than that.
Yeah.
It was hot.
There was a few of those days where you're like, I just can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So we found our sweet spot of when we like to go there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. November's nice.
Yeah.
You see Thai people with jackets on.
I know.
Which still amazes me.
It does me too. Even after going up to the mountain.
Do you remember her?
I do. She had a poofy.
And I'm like,
poofy jacket.
Where did you come from? And she's like, well, we're up in the mountains. I'm like, well, I could see the mountain.
There's no
snow.
That
doesn't have snow on it. I still don't understand that jacket.
Yeah.
Because it's 85 degrees here.
Yeah.
And you're wearing a jacket.
Meanwhile,
full winter coat.
You're looking for a towel to wipe the dripping sweat off your...
I had like linen pants and a t-shirt on, and I'm still sweating. And you're going, how is this possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always an adventure. There's always something fun and funny that happens. But the food is just... Well, the food and the people. I think if you're going to make me pick, like the food, the people, and the time are the Thai time. I appreciate the Thai time.
Yeah, the Thai time's
I love
nice.
it. It's amazing.
Especially coming from here. Because you have no choice but to be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to have to relax.
To the point where when you get back to the United States after being there for a long period of time, you're like, oh,
we've got it wrong, guys.
You're doing this
really,
wrong.
We've got all this wrong. Seriously, I just spent 2.5 weeks in heaven. This is you guys, we're doing this all wrong. No, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
They don't listen.
No, they don't. Well, we don't either, to be fair.
No.
We drip right back into our routine pretty quickly.
It doesn't take long, but there's a few days that you're like, boy,
yeah,
I can move there.
Right? There is a piece of that, yeah, without a doubt. Cool. You have anything else you want to say about Chiang Mai?
No.
Feels good? Feels like a wrap? That was fun for me. I didn't know why you fell in love with it, so that was a cool thing to hear that part of your story. That was cool. All right, that's a wrap. You can find us at jaidewellness.com, JAIDEE wellness.com, or at michellealbers.com, AALB as in boy, ERS, or on our social media pages, Instagram and Facebook. Bye. Be you every day.